Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who this might be your first time, I'm Peter. I'm a recreational enthusiast, hobbyist, wildlife photographer, really heavily on the side of avian photography, bird photography. And I'm based in the National Capital Region of Canada, the city of Ottawa. It's been it's been a good month and a bit since my last videos, which were the ones back in Cuba. In that time, I mean, we're at almost the end of March now. It's just been an unfriendly winter for photography. Didn't get out at all. I think I might have gotten out once or tried. But I've done some purchases. I've picked up a few new products here and there, based on kind of gaps that I was seeing in the gear I had, and also with a planned, a very specific planned trip for the fall. And it was in that vein that I came across this pack. Now this, and I'm just going to make sure I get the right name for it. It's the PGYTECH OnePro Ultralight. This is the 30 liter. And this discussion is not really about the pack, but about the camera cube. So Desy Cheng, who's a professional photographer based out of Vancouver, did an initial I love his channel, by the way. So if you're looking at, especially for reviews, like, he's really good at reviews, and especially on the soft goods. So things like, to me, a backpack would be a soft good versus hard goods, like, you know, tripods, cameras, whatnot. So he did a review on the 20 and 30 liter, and I had been sort of, because this is a brand new pack, it's only recently been released, I'd kind of thinking that this could meet certain needs for the carry system for certain types of photography outings I have. And just based on his review, I ended up purchasing the 30 liter. But I've noticed on his, as well as a few other people who have done reviews on this pack, and I do hope to do a review of the pack, but I want to actually get out and use it a bit. A lot of people are struggling with the camera cube that comes with it. So I just want to do a very quick video. This is actually a take 2. I did a video already that lasted 55 minutes. Which is a little too long for camera cube. So I thought I would just do a quick discussion. Okay, I'm back. I went and grabbed this. Most of us, when we talk about camera cubes, talk about this type of camera cube. So this is a Peak Design. This is the small medium, or medium as they call it. You know, essentially it's a box, padded with dividers, and often with a lid. Cameras generally, or camera backpacks generally, will have, you know, we can say 2 types of camera-specific carry systems. One is this type of cube, which physically you can remove from the camera, from the backpack, and insert it. And the other is one where the backpack has extra construction to it, extra padding, and the dividers just fit in. The backlight by Think Tank, prime example of that. Tenba's Fulton series, which is another pack I own. Same idea. You know, there's no camera cube to remove. You could remove the dividers, but the camera cube itself, the pack is padded in a way to be the camera cube. The PGYTECH Ultralight is a little bit different. there's really no form to this. So there's no built-in camera cube. At the same time, it wasn't designed to accommodate that box zippered construction. I actually bought the small and extra small PGYTECH camera cubes. They can fit in here, but it's really tight. In fact, that Peak Design small medium fits really nice, as well as the medium. I have tried the medium, and I've been able to squeeze in the large, but it's not right. You know, just it doesn't work with the design. It works because you force it, but not from a design perspective. It wasn't meant to work that way. What PGYTECH has done has been to almost create a flat pack. So if you're familiar with IKEA, you know, like you buy all the thing unassembled and it's all packed down to a small box, and you bring it home and turn it into a desk or a table or whatever it is. They've done the same thing, and I've taken mine apart. It basically comes with, let me just do it this way, 3 small dividers. They're nice little dividers with hook and loop on them, so you can pretty well arrange them how you want. So you get 3 of these, and this is the 30 liter. I'm not sure if the 40 has 1 or 2 more, and the 20 has 1 or 2 less, but this will be the 30 liter, so just as a size reference. 2 larger dividers, very similar, nicely made because you can really accommodate weird shapes with the way they've got it gusseted and bendable. So you get 2 of those, and 2 elastic straps, sort of compression straps that you can use just to keep stuff from bouncing around. So all of this comes packaged with the main part of the camera cube and another, I'm just going to call it the back, okay, for now. So these 2 pieces along with all of that. It's all packaged together. It's beautifully packaged, actually. I think they might have put a marketing person on with the packaging engine folks to make it look good. But it comes out of the backpack flat. It's not assembled. You've got to assemble it, and that's where, in other reviews, people are having problems. They're finding it a little difficult, and I'm just going to take a few minutes of your time to show you how easy it is, and just if you've gotten this far and you're not going to buy that backpack, the value of this video might not be as good for you, but if you're thinking of this backpack, you get some idea about how much, because I'm going to actually show you some lens options that can actually fit in this. So what I want you to do, like the first thing you do when you take it all apart, is you set aside the dividers, okay? The dividers in that little elastic, just put them aside, don't even look at them. Put them in a different room if they're going to bother you. That'll leave you with 2 pieces. The big, what's the main component of the camera cube, and this back piece. And it's got 2 hook and loop tabs. So one on one side and one on the bottom and one on the side, as well as this little flexible arm. It's fairly stiff, but there is a break in it to allow it to have some flexibility. And it has these 2 little tabs like this, okay? So this is going to be important for the first thing we're going to do, because I'm going to put this together in how it probably is going to appeal to the most people, and then it can be made smaller, and it can also be made larger. And PGYTECH doesn't talk about this, and nobody I've seen so far on YouTube has talked about this. So I can show you how to actually get a larger lens and not be restricted by the size. So the first thing you do is you take the big flat piece. You'll notice one side is fairly flat, and there's no texture to the loop because this hook is the more abrasive part of the hook and loop system, and then the soft velvety side is the loop is the loop part. And what hook and loop is, if any of you live in areas where there's burrs, in the bush when you're walking along and you get these seed pods stuck to you, same concept. The hook in hook and loop has little barbs on it, and when you, I'll just take this for example. So that's this piece here is the hook, and when it is in contact with the velvet, the softer side, the loop, it sticks and then pulls off. And I have to say, on the PGYTECH's product, and I don't know what brand they're using for hook and loop, there's a few different brands. The most common is Velcro. If you've heard of the word Velcro, that's a brand, a specific brand. But so I don't know who they're using for theirs, if it's an in-house that they've developed it, or if they're using somebody else's. This is really good stuff. I've done a lot of opening and shutting of these dividers and moving things around, and I don't find it's lost any of its grippiness. And like I can do this sometimes with very cheap hook and loop. After about 5 or 6 doing that, the sound actually changes where it's not catching anymore. So they've done a good job. So these are the two pieces I want you to have in your hand. This first piece, so on the one side it's kind of these ribbed textures, and on the other side it's nice and flat. It's got a couple of bendy parts to it. What we're going to do is turn this into a box. This piece here is your bottom. So if you take the backpack, essentially, well, let me just quickly open this up and get these out of the way. And find the zipper. Okay. So when this is open like this, if I raise this little bottom, this sort of sits as your ledge on the bottom. So this is what's at the bottom of the pack, just so that you can orient yourself. The other side will go up. Just again, I'm just orienting you. Don't worry about this too much. The other side is for the, and I'll use this on how I'm looking at it. So this is on my right side. And on the other side, you'll notice there's nothing, and that's because that's where the door is for side access. Okay? So we'll just put this back here like that for now. So again, we'll take the big flat, the biggest piece. There's only one like this. It's nice and simple. When you close this door, just one thing to realize, and I have another. It's a problem with too much hook and loop. There's a lot of hook and loop in this. It may or may not be attached. There's kind of a split in this piece. This piece is not meant to be bent any other way than up, okay? So don't try to force it, make this smaller, bend it. It's a solid piece. It doesn't really bend on the vertical, it bends on the horizontal. On the back of this piece, you'll see, so this is the big piece, the main box. If you flip this arm up, you'll notice an indent here, and an indent here, and an indent here. Those indents match these tabs, these hook tabs, the hook and loop, the hook tabs. So this, we'll take this bottom one first. So this just goes up, and you kind of line it up nicely, and you just make the tab fit into the little pocket that's kind of designed for it. It's just a little, probably a millimeter of raised material, so it's not a big deal, but it sort of tells you how to, it's like that A, if you had it marked A to B, it sort of shows you. So now your bottom is in, and you can see it's a little flimsy. And what we'll add is this one. So this will just tighten things up. And again, I mean, it's not going to be perfect. You can spend a little bit of time making it really nice. So now we've got essentially the two sides of the box. This is the back. So this sits in the camera in the backpack like this. This will be the bottom, and this will be the one side. The next thing you do is you take your standalone piece. Okay, that's why all these things trying to connect themselves to each other. Okay, so that's you've got that. Take your standalone piece. The part with the two little tabs, that sits up. Okay, so that's physically away from the back. The tab, so you can see this little tab here. You can see sort of the tab there, and there's another tab here. Those, and actually it'll go this way, because this is again soft versus textured. So these will be then hooking into the box that you're building. The first one I like to do is the bottom one. So again, you've got that indent. This just sort of fits in, kind of matches it up. You get a little match. Close your door here a little bit, or close the side a little bit, and then you put the other tab, the other hook tab into the loops. So you can see now you're developing, you've got three sides. Okay, so you've got your big side, your bottom, and your new top that was separate that you've just added. And the open side is, again, for the side access. Now, you've got this funny little piece hanging here with the two little tabs. Just bend that down to add structure to it, and then the one tab just gets attached to the side, and the other one over on this side with the opening, you just sort of loop it in and around like that. Okay, so it would just sort of fit in there. You're just getting it out of the way. That's your camera cube. That's all there is to it. Now, take your backpack, find a flattish surface, and just before I put it in, the backpack has a couple of features that then hook into that cube. The first is another tab. So it's down here. So this is another, one side it's actually loop, but the other side is the hook. The other side is the rough side. You've got two small tabs here against the door that, again, they all attach to the camera cube to keep it in place. You also have these little black, there's four of them, loops. They're kind of a paracord with a, maybe there's a plastic tubing to give them a little bit more rigidity, but there's four of them. They're going to give you the most, make the pack the most rigid when they hook up to those things, but you'll see that in a second. So here, I'll try to do this sideways. So you take your camera cube, again, the tabs, these little tabs, the back, you keep them up. So they're going into the pack this way. I'm gonna have to do it down on the ground. And you have to fiddle with it. It's not super, it's not hard, but it's just not, you know, super easy. So you get it all in, and then you pull your tab that's part of the backpack, and just, again, there's a little indent in the bottom of that camera cube. You just hook it on. Now, the big job, so this has to, you know, get it down, and then this little tab, so you can see the little bar with the two tabs, have it go up, so it's facing up, and then just thread part of the tab through, pull it all the way through, get it good and snug, and then onto the other side of the plate, of the back plate, or the top plate. And you do the same thing on the other side. That's it. You've got your camera cube. Now, and you can see how much more rigid it is. You know, I can put this like this and it's actually sitting up. And now you can put in your other pieces, you know, to set it up the way you want for your particular camera. This will hold the a number of lenses. So the RF100-400, you know, lots of room in that. The RF100-500, again, you know, on the horizontal, if you were to put it down at the bottom, for example, it's getting a little closer in size. But if you go this way, again, you get lots of room. Now, the 400, this is the EF400-500. It's getting to where, and that's a 12-inch lens, okay? So that's a 1 foot long lens that's here. It fits in nice and snug, but it does fit. But the problem is, if you have something like the, pull the big guy out, the 200-800, this lens won't fit. But let me show you how to make this smaller, and then I'll show you how to actually be able to still carry this lens in this pack with one simple modification. Actually, maybe I'll do that first. No, let me do the extension, and then I'll go to making this into a pack that would be maybe for a single camera with like the 24-240 lens or a 24-105 lens, you know, where you're just you're doing small lenses, 1 or 2, and you're going to carry more gear. So let me I'll extend this now to make it where it's going to accommodate big lenses like this. And this is not going to be perfect, but it just shows you the versatility that I think PGYTECH has maybe accidentally built into this pack, because it's not using, you know, a set box for a camera cube where you have no choice. You're limited by this size, or where you've got all that padding and gear holding ability. But when you start wanting to carry things that are not camera gear, you're mixing. You're putting camera gear in with a pair of socks or a shirt or a jacket, and it may not be convenient. So here you can still keep your clothes or other things separate up in the roll top area, and down here in the camera cube, you can get a little bit more use. So for this extension, very simply remove those tabs from the loops. So now this camera cube box becomes a little bit more removable. Just put the tabs down so that they're out of the way. Remove the one side tab of hook and loop. So you're not, I'll just pull this up a little bit. You're not taking this off, the top plate off. You're just removing the side, and you're gonna have to remove sort of the bottom. Yeah, you're gonna have to remove the bottom tab as well. Just on one side, just so that you can now open it. So now you're So now your camera cube, darn, told you the Velcro sticks. So your camera cube goes from something, you know, like this, you're going to have it now like this. So you can leave that one attached. This one, this one you can sort of just fold that over, and then you can fold this one over just to keep it out of the way. So now that top wall becomes a plate, it becomes part of the flat plate. Just drop it back down, the whole thing. It does fit. You just have to lift up the material that's used for the top roll top compartment, but it does fit. It just goes in here. Now, it's only going to be held by those Velcro tabs that are part of the backpack. You can see you're not getting any thing holding up the side panel here. But you can take, and this is where I'd say you could, if you could find something like this that's not stretchy, so it would be a solid piece of material. Just thread that through. And then give it a good stretch so the little black loop is now being pulled over the side, see? So just being pulled over. That's going to give you some rigidity here on this side. This side won't have any, but if you're going to have essentially two sides now of holding up the camera cube. Now, your 200-800, look at all the room I've got, you know? It's going to be a little harder to mess around with doing the additional tabs. You're going to have to play around with it to get something that's usable for you. But just to show you it does work, you know, I just here, you could probably, you know, get this guy in and then maybe use the other. You could use the other long one. You know, you sort of hit the Velcro here on this side, or the hook and loop, sorry. Get the hook and loop sort of sticking on that side, and then just bend this around. I mean, it's not pretty, but it does the job. So, you know, so where it becomes important to carry a longer lens. Now, if you're going to be carrying the longer lens all the time, well, look at the 40 or some other bag. This is not meant for that. But I'm just showing you that this pack and how PGYTECH has, and I'm not sponsored by them. I've got 11 people who watch this who are on. So I'm not going to be somebody PGYTECH is going, hey, can you test out our bags? But just go show you the versatility in this pack for somebody like you, like me, who are amateurs, who maybe only have one pack, go out with a lens on occasion, prefer to have, you know, using, it just gives you that versatility that you don't have if you have a pack that requires one of these and you're limited to the size based on how much the pack will hold, or a pack like the Tenba Fulton or the backlight, Think Tank backlight, where it's always going to be a camera bag, the whole thing. You don't have any other options. I could take this all out and I could throw in clothes and then have a weekend backpack for clothing. And that's what's really nice with this pack. Let me just put this guy over here so it's out of my way. This second shorter video is going to maybe be as long. Just one final, and this is how PGYTECH markets or shows this camera cube being used, and it's in its sort of a single camera configuration. So let me just quickly, that one's very fast and easy to do. So we'll physically take our camera cube out again, throw this back on the chair. So now with this last thing, you take that top plate off. You physically it's no longer needed, okay? So this guy just gets put over to the side. Now, the bottom stays where it is. you take, so if you remember, this is kind of how it, you know, your two-sided opening for the door, and then the accessory piece for your top plate. Just remove this one Velcro tab. Now remember, this plate doesn't move. You just have to sort of bend this in on the inside, because this one does make a square. Well, now a rectangle. And you just, there's like a little line here, so you can use that as a guide for the distance. That that side that I said is not bendy, that just stays in this type of position. And now that's it. That's all you have to do. And you just take your backpack again. So this goes in. Okay, again, this is always the bottom. This piece has always been the bottom. This of the pack, and this side has always been the right side. Those two things never change. So that just goes in this way. You flip the little door, the little ledge, back again. So it's facing up. You flip it up. And what it does, it goes into the first. There's, again, like I said earlier, there's two loops. And on the other side, same thing, mirror image. So in the first loop, you just flip this up, thread it through. Give it a little tug so that it's nice and tight. Do the same thing on the other side. You can hear the Velcro you're hearing is the Velcro that's in the bottom, that's part of the backpack, that's sort of holding on to the camera cube. So you have to do a little bit of maneuvering with sticking your hand under and moving things around after, but it's not hard to do. So. And then the bottom Velcro tab, you just pull it out from behind and, you know, make it all pretty. Get it on there. It's not pretty now, but anyway, gives you the idea. So now you've got just a single, so that would be perfect for one camera, again with 24-240 lens, 24-105 lens, more than enough room. And then you've got all of this that you could use for other things. Like if even the roll top doesn't unroll that far down, so you could put in clothing cubes. I guess for want of a better, is that what they're called? I think, anyway, cute. But you can put in clothing up here. You could, and this is what I found, is going back to my small medium peak design, fits in. It's not perfect, but you know, while you're fiddling around with it, you can get it in. Now the reason you do that is, and I'd probably just throw some of those, these other parts into, if I wasn't carrying a laptop, or I might put those in my checked luggage. I get to the country I'm visiting. So we'll take the Sicily trip I did a few years ago. I get to Sicily. I've got my 100-500 lens down here. I've got all my other lenses in here. I get to Sicily, but I'm not going to always carry the 100-500 and all the lenses in the backpack. I might go out somewhere and just have the 100-500 on the R7. That would be it. So I can take this out when I get to my Airbnb or my hotel, wherever I'm staying. I can just leave that at the hotel with the lenses I don't need, with the stuff I don't need. I could maybe put it into my, I use a travel backpack for traveling. I can put it in there, you know, for security. That way, anybody comes into the room, they don't they see the backpack, but they don't see camera gear on a table. If you're in a room with a large room safe, this might fit. Not all. Most room safes are fairly small these days. But then I can just reconfigure the PGYTECH camera cube to carry what I need to carry for my daily outings while I'm, especially for a place where you're going to be gone for a month and a half. To spend an hour or half an hour to reconfigure is no big deal. So that's why I do that. That's why I think it has value to be able to do that. So anyway, that hopefully, I'm still blowing my time on this, but gives you a very brief look at 3 sizing options for the PGYTECH Ultralight 30 liter. The fact that you've got, again, this configuration, the smallest, the configuration that they recommend as the medium, but you can make this into a backpack that can hold bigger lenses. And the 200-800 is a good size for a larger lens. And still have a very workable pack, very lightweight pack. And a pack that personally I find is aesthetically pleasing. It's the, that form over function debate we can get into on what's more important, the form, the look, or the function, what's working. And there's always room for both to work together, especially in backpacks. Backpacks shouldn't look ugly. But at the same time, if they're too cutesy, they may not be able to do what you need it to do for any given carry situation. So I think PGYTECH actually hit it out of the park. Maybe it's not and I don't think there's a perfect backpack out there. But I think for people with smaller gear setups, even if it's for wildlife and birds, like mine, the 400 f4 DO, and I'm thinking of lenses here. All those 400 lengths probably will fit. The 300s will probably fit, even like the 2.8. You start getting into the 5s and 6s and that 800 that Canon has, the RF and the old EF800s. Those are long. Those likely won't fit in this. But in those more moderate sized, smaller sized lenses, certainly. The 100-500, great lens. The 100-400 EF, the L series, you can get a lot in here and make it and adjust it to what you need for any given situation, and not be stuck with either too much backpack or not enough camera carry space. So anyway, I hope this video was useful for you. It's not going to be much shorter than the other one that I had already done, but hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, just reach out. Happy to sort of go through things, because maybe something wasn't quite explained the right way. Anyway, let me know what you think. If you've watched this much into it, thank you very much. And the next time, I promise you, we'll be out taking pictures of birds, hopefully with a lot less snow on the ground, but certainly we'll be outside and not in the office. Anyway, take care. Thanks a lot.